You know, after that introduction, I should probably just leave. I can only go downhill from here. Well, thank you, Craig. So I'm very excited about being here this evening. This new initiative is something that's both important for our society, but it's also important to me. Give back takes various forms in people's lives, and it's something that's been a very important part of my life, principally in the entrepreneurial sector. But I've always struggled with this idea that we want to do the right thing, whatever it is, but it's costly. And how does it make sort of economic sense, and how do you make it sustainable? Well, this evening we're really fortunate to have a very eminent panel to talk about and introduce us to the concepts and the issues surrounding social enterprise. Our first panelist is Helen Burstein. Helen is a dynamic community leader who has enjoyed over 30 years of success in public service, community, and business. She is currently the chair of the Partnership Project Forum. I misspelled this. An Ontario initiative to strengthen the not-for-profit and voluntary sectors in the province. She also serves, as you heard earlier, as the special advisor for social enterprise to the Ontario Ministry here for Economic Development and Innovation, and her focus is to assist the ministry in building capacity and understanding social enterprise. Helen is also a co-founder of the Picot Centre for Social Impact, also a nonprofit. She served 6 years as the chair of the Ontario Trillium Foundation. She's an active member in the community on many boards and works with many organizations. And she also received the YWCA Woman of Distinction Award for Community Service, as well as the Ontario Voluntary Service Award in 2010. Please join me in welcoming. Our second panelist this evening is Bill Young. Bill is really a pioneer in the field of social finance. He's the founder of Social Capital Partners, a non-profit organization that he founded in 2001. Prior to that, he spent 20 years in private business and grew a number of organizations, including he was the CEO of Hamilton Computers, which he grew from 15 million to over 250 million in revenue, and it was ultimately sold to GE Capital. And from there, he was the CEO and chairman of Optum Communications, later Accent. He's a chartered accountant. He was with E&Y. He holds a BA from U of T and an MBA from Harvard. He's on many boards and is very active in our community. He's also a member of the Canadian Task Force on Social Finance. Please join me in welcoming Bill. Last but not least, in looking at these resumes, I don't know how there's enough time in the day for what these people do and the value they bring to our society. But our last presenter this evening is Tanya Sermon. Tanya is a social entrepreneur, community animator, and network choreographer.
I like that.
I didn't write this, but it's fantastic. And a great writer with a passion for bringing life to world-changing projects. She has been creating and leading social ventures since 1987 and has built her body of knowledge around multi-sectorial collaboration and entrepreneurship for social change. She is the founding executive director and CEO of the Centre for Social Innovation, which catalyzes and inspires social innovation in Toronto and around the world. She's been recognized with a number of awards. She's a global Ashoka Fellow, which is the highest recognition one can achieve in social entrepreneurship. The Canadian New Media Awards recognized her as a leader in social change in 2010. And in 2009, CSI, which she founded, was awarded the City Innovation Award by the Canadian Urban Institute. Like our other panel members, she's on a number of boards in charity boards and social enterprise institutions. And she's had quite an interesting practice. I heard that you're actually farming on your roof on top of all of that, and is very busy in your community with your family. Please join me in welcoming Tanya. So I thought what we would do this evening is start by me trying to define a little bit what social enterprise is and to give us a little bit of context, and then have each one of our panelists give about a 10-minute presentation with their views on the topic. I've then prepared a few questions that I'd like to ask them, and if we still have time or the audience gets a little feisty, we'd like to hear from you and hear what you have to say. And please, if you feel during the presentation, at least my part of the presentation, don't interrupt them during their 10 minutes, but that if you have a follow-up question or you don't feel like you got the answer that you were looking for, please don't be shy. Let's make this an interactive evening. I went online and read a few things and tried to figure out, what's a definition of social enterprise. And it was interesting because as you read a lot of the literature and some of the material, it's pretty clear that different people have different views. I mean, we have a real spectrum from sort of the nonprofit community that's trying to figure out how to create sustainable organizations that give back, to the other end of the spectrum. You have for-profit entities that are focused on the double or triple bottom line, that of profit, but also social and environmental benefit. And so you have this entire spectrum, and as you think about it, there's various different ways to approach it, and each sector of that spectrum likely have different solutions. But according to Wikipedia, they say that a social enterprise is an organization that applies commercial strategies to maximizing improvements in human and environmental well-being rather than maximizing profits for external shareholders. So social enterprises can be structured as a for-profit or non-profit. So again, focused on giving back, the double bottom line or the triple bottom line, if you will. And I think for many organizations, the goal is to find a sustainable financial model. I don't know about many of you, but over my career, I've been to many of these rubber chicken events where, every year they got to sell tickets and it's a golf tournament or a gala, even with Tide. But, you have these events, but it's not sustainable. After the event's over, you've raised the money, you've spent the money, and you're back to square one the next day, and you got to figure out to go back to the well, to the same people, and to keep this going. Similarly, business has corporate social responsibility. Our speaker last year at the Tide Gala was a friend and client of mine, Jules Paquette of Boreal Information Strategies. And here's a company that's a software development company that's a very successful business, was HSBC's International Canadian Business of the Year for small and medium-sized enterprise. But their business is about managing corporate social responsibility. They've developed a software suite that manages the obligations of companies that are exploiting, whether it's oil and gas or mining or building infrastructure, could be roads, tunnels, bridges, what have you, but they've got responsibility to the community. And how do they track it? And how do you keep them accountable? And these guys have come up with a software program that automates that and tracks it and makes sure that they live up to their obligations. So here you are, 3 young men from Magog, Quebec, not only doing well but for society, but doing good as well. And so that's the other end of the spectrum where we've got for-profit. So I just find the whole topic really fascinating, and I don't want to really talk more because I think I'm taking away some valuable time from our guest.